off?
It's known by many names, but what it is a synthetic drug designed to mimic the effects of marijuana. It was first invented to help people who were sick deal better with pain and nausea. But scientists discovered it had some dangerous side effects, so they stopped making it.
You're gonna love this. My friend Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
Trust me. It's perfectly okay. Right, John?
Nothing to be concerned with, bro. It's natural and it's organic.
You can trust us.
Don't worry about it, dude. Have a good time.
Hi, I'm Renee, and we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about a very dangerous drug. The truth is, all drugs can be dangerous, but this one is especially dangerous. It has a bunch of names: K2, Spice, Zombie World. Zombie World? Really? What we're talking about are chemicals made in a lab somewhere that are sprayed on plant material and sold as something that may give the user the same effect as smoking marijuana. Right now you're probably wondering, who is this woman and what does she know, right? Well, that's a good question. You should question what you hear, especially when it's about something important like this, because this is all about your health and your future. I'm a mom. I have 2 sons whom I love dearly, and I'm sharing this with them as I am with you. I'm going to tell you true stories about people who used K2, Spice. I'm also going to tell you about how it affected their families. These are all based on what really happened to real people. In some of the stories, the names were changed to protect the privacy of the families. The first story is about a young man named Eddie, in a story we call The American Dream.
I was always so proud of Eddie. He was going to be the first in our family to go to college. That's why we came to America, for a better life.
His dream was to be a computer game designer.
If I would have known he was smoking that with that Joe, I would have... I never smoke or drink. That stuff's no good. Joe told me they bought this stuff called Spice. Joe thought it was safe because the guy they bought it from said it was safe.
It's gonna be okay. Have a good time.
They were so stupid to think this guy was their friend. All he wanted was their money.
What Jerk wanted was money. He wasn't their friend. Estúpidos.
Stupid. Joe said at first Eddie was getting high. Then he got this strange look, like he was frozen. Then he just stared off into space. And for no reason, he attacked Joe.
There's not enough room in here.
What are you talking about?
I found enough room in here.
The cops had to take him to jail.
They took him to a place where they take los locos. The crazy people.
They had to tie him to his bed because he wanted to hurt himself. The next time I saw him, he was perched on his bed, flapping his arms and crowing like
a chicken.
To see your son like that, we thought he would have a better life.
The doctors say that he may get better, but not to hope too much.
Hope? No hope. They said he hurt his brain.
Stupid boys.
Not the ending Eddie thought it would be. Or was it? A little fun? Did you think he knew better? We may never know. So there was a very important point to this story. Did you get it? If you said it's all about the money, you're right. The people who sell drugs only care about the money. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me. It's just about the money. Our next story is about a young man with all-star potential. See if you can pick out the main message in this story we call the love of the game.
We were a very active family. Kyle had a lot of friends, great kid, started playing football when he was 5. Remember his first football game, they all look like those bobbleheads as they're running out onto the field. You know, their heads are bigger than the rest of their body. And he's running out, and I knew that he was going to give it all he had. He didn't really care if he lost or won. He just wanted to play the game, and he played it well. Every sport he tried, he did just really exceptionally well at. He had just turned 15. He was hanging around with some new people. I suspected that he had smoked regular marijuana. As much as I didn't like it, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, this is what is typical behavior from a 15-year-old. Like his other siblings, it would have probably not lasted long, that he would have done the stupid things as a young kid and then went on to graduate, and you know, his line would have straightened down. Kyle was at school, and he up and walked out of school. Walked home, loaded a gun, and went out into the woods and sat under a tree. And something told him not to do it, not to pull the trigger. Said to his father,
Yeah, Kyle, what's up?
Dad, something's wrong with me.
What's going on, Kyle?
I can't be here anymore. I can't live anymore.
Kyle, where are you? Kyle?
I don't want to be here.
his dad called me, but just said, Kyle's acting very strange, and I think we need to take him to the hospital. While we were in the hospital, Kyle opened up and told me that he had smoked spice.
Mom, I smoke spice.
And I said, where did you get it?
Me and some friends bought it from this kid at school.
So when Kyle went into the emergency room, the doctors treated him for the side effects of the street drug, synthetic marijuana, with heavy psychotic medications, and it didn't work. He was transferred within a day, a bed became available, and that's when our nightmare started. So I contacted the moms of the few friends that he had actually smoked the marijuana with, the synthetic marijuana with. The outcome for these two other boys were that the one survived the drug, the other turned into a living nightmare for his parents, and therefore had to be sent away. And Kyle landed in a psych unit. He went from the emergency room to a psychiatric unit, and within 7 days, he was a zombie. Kyle has been hospitalized 30 times. He has undergone 28 electrical shock therapy procedures. He's been placed on 40 plus heavy antipsychotic medications and antidepressants. He's attempted his life 9 times, and we can't get him better. Kyle still feels his life is meaningless. These drugs took from him his youth, the things that he's wanted to do. His athletic ability is gone. But not only did it take from him, but it took from me and his father and his brothers and his sisters. People need to understand that there's so many facets to what can happen if you choose to use a drug. One is death. One is getting in the criminal justice system, getting in trouble, doing things that you would not normally do. And the other is takes you into a whole nother realm of destruction, and that is the psychiatry world. These drugs are not worth giving up what you had. I've developed these thoughts that no mother should ever have. And the thought that's been continuous in my head is this: would it have been better for Kyle to have been successful in killing himself, or the life that he's living right now, killing himself?
Did you get the main message? Not only are you hurting yourself, but you could also be hurting someone who loves you and someone you love. Our next story is about Max. Max's mom never had to worry about him. See if you can pick out the main point.
I can't even tell you how many times I said, thank God I don't have to worry about Max. Max was one of those kids that didn't get in trouble. He was very well liked. Max was the kind of kid that didn't want me to use chemicals to clean the house. He wanted organic cleaners. He didn't want me to spray the yard to kill the weeds. He didn't care. He just said, you know what, those chemicals are too dangerous. He didn't eat fast food. So Max went to the mall with his friend. She was going to buy a hookah. So they went into the smoke shop, and in the process of buying the hookah, the shop owner talked them into buying spice. These kids had a conversation that it must be safe.
Is this safe?
I don't know. It must be. You can buy it in a store.
Well, they were wrong. Max's friend Emily smoked with him, and it had no effect on Emily. And when Max got out of the car and walked into the house, he looked perfectly fine, and she drove away thinking that her best friend was fine. And things went very bad quickly for Max. And then one day, I was at my friend's house, and I got the call that every parent gets. People have nightmares over that phone call. I got it. And the police officer told me that Max had died in a car accident. So we got in the car and went to the hospital, and I had to go see my son dead in the emergency room. And the police officer was standing right outside. He said people were calling 911 and reporting that Max was driving at very high rates of speed, driving erratically, weaving in and out of traffic. He told me that when the road came to an end, Max never applied his brake, and he flew 80 feet in the air and landed in a house and died. When my oldest son arrived at the hospital, I had to tell him that his best friend was dead. He's gone. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And he said, Mom, I have to tell you something. He said, Max called me about a half an hour before the accident, and he said, Justin, I smoked that legal stuff and I'm freaking out. And Justin said, take a shower, eat something, lay down, and you'll be okay. He called him back about 15 minutes later and said, are you okay? And Max said very quickly, yep, and hung up. And that was the last time anyone ever talked to Max. My beautiful son was dead. People think it's a marijuana alternative. After a few hours, I began to wonder, what was that legal stuff? What was he talking about? And I started to find out very quickly. K2 spice, it's just chemicals sprayed on leaves. It's not a marijuana alternative. It's a very dangerous drug. These newer chemicals have never even been tested on lab rats. The kids are the lab rats. And the experiment is not going very well. Our psych wards are filling up. They're having heart attacks, strokes, seizures. They're having paranoid delusions and anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. There's so many side effects. The worst side effects is the brain. It's horrendous when you see kids with brain damage. Beautiful kids that had beautiful lives that are now sitting in psych wards wearing diapers and drooling. So this is nothing to play with. So many people are suffering that did not smoke spice. The families that I talk to are in so much pain. They suffer. I'm suffering. I loved my Max. He was my world.
Did you get the point of that story? Max's friend Emily smoked exactly the same stuff, and yet she had no reaction. You never know how a drug will affect you until you use it. This next story is another true story. We've changed the names to protect the privacy of the family. I have to warn you, these images are graphic.
If Adam had his way, he'd always be fishing. He loved working with his hands. He was always building something.
He wants to design skyscrapers, you know.
But he loves fishing. We're proud of him. He got pretty much all A's in high school and in college. And he was just trying to unwind after taking his final exams. 6 weeks, he went to all of his classes, and in the last 2 weeks he was cramming for his finals. And he had to do well. He had interviews with some impressive firms. And after a couple of puffs of spice, he just lost it. He said that the devil was controlling his hands and they were trying to kill him. And he's trying to reason with them. He's screaming at them. He's trying to shake the devil out of his hands, and nothing's working. So he has an idea that he's gonna go to the kitchen, turn on the burners, and when they got red hot, he put his hands right on them, and they caught fire.
Set off the smoke alarms.
Firemen said it took 6 men to pull him away. When we got to the hospital, the doctors told us they couldn't save his hands. They had to take both of them.
The point to this story? That's easy. This is your life. Not your friend's life, not your parents' life, not your teacher's life, but your life. You'll have to spend the rest of it living with the choices you make today. There's no one else like you in the whole world. So celebrate your value. Be good to yourself.